Welcome into Big East Shootaround at the Big East Tournament here at Madison Square Garden. And for a third consecutive year, the Connecticut Huskies are heading to the tournament semis. They beat Providence 73-66. We're joined by Jordan Hawkins and head coach Dan Hurley. Guys, what a game. You guys came out firing. Obviously, Providence wasn't going to quit. Dan, what was this game like to compete in, and what did you see from your team to win it?
Yeah, I felt like maybe for 28, maybe 30 minutes, we played as good a game at both ends of the court as you could play, is almost as good as any team in the country could play. And then it was about a 7-minute stretch where we played about as bad as any team in the country could play. And credit Providence and Ed and their program and their players to beat somebody this time of year. You know, you're trying to end their season, or you're trying to end their conference career. So I thought a lot of it had to do with their tenaciousness, and obviously we fouled a lot and turned the ball over a lot.
Jordan Hawkins, 19 points in your Big East tournament debut. A year ago, you're sitting and watching your team. Unfortunately, today, it is the fortune, and it was out of the gates that you had a purpose.
Yeah.
How much did you put it on yourself to come out here and shine for this team with the bright lights of MSG?
Hey, man, I didn't put too much pressure on myself. I know I got great teammates around me. I got guys like Tristan Newton, Adama Sanogo. Haas did a great job. AK playing great defense. So I really didn't put too much pressure on myself. Just let the game come to me. I knew my guys were going to play well today. So, yeah.
Dan, I know that you said the start of the year that Jordan has that green light. Might as well be neon. What have you seen in his growth?
Just he's exactly where we knew he would be. I mean, when we recruited him, I think. Number one, losing him last year for this tournament, for the NCAA tournament, changed a lot of things for what we would be able to accomplish. I mean, it hurt us last year not having him, and I think he's exactly where we thought he'd be as a sophomore. He's one of the best shooter scorers in the country, and I think he's got the stomach, the confidence to. He just knows he's about to light up March.
Coach, your fans have called this an additional home.
Absolutely.
And it sounded that way today. With about 7 seconds to go in the game, when you knew you had it, you turned to your fans. What did you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, this is our place. I mean, we own MSG. Our fans certainly, as great as the Providence fan base is, and that you could even hear it in the introductions, the buzz, the reaction to our team, and it's going to be a lot more lopsided tomorrow, because I guess probably more people are going to be coming in on trains and buses for the semis.
How would you reflect on the atmosphere inside this building?
Hey, man, it's amazing. Every time I play in here, I get goosebumps. I mean, it's absolutely amazing playing in here. Just seeing my family get the chance to see me playing here is also amazing. All credit to the team, all credit to the guys for getting to this point. We worked really hard for this, so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be playing in this building a lot, more without a UConn jersey on, too, for a long time.
It was cool to see, like, Shabazz Napier's mom was courtside, Kemba Walker's mom was courtside. Husky Nation was filling this place up. I'll leave you both with one more. First to you, you just said in the press conference, Connecticut has a culture. Yeah. And as a result, today you brought Tristan Newton in off the bench. How many times does a guy come in, take that lesson, 16.7 assists, just one turnover, Dan?
No, they usually melt. I mean, normally they melt. Normally, when you're being taught whether it's a minor lesson, a small infraction, whatever it is, I think my head coach's job is to protect the culture, and I was just so impressed by his mental toughness today. I didn't expect that. I expected us to have to win. Despite him playing anywhere near his best, and he was great today.
And Jordan Hawkins, as a player, how would you define that UConn culture?
Man, it's really, he built the culture, built it up since he got here. I mean, changed the program around. So it's a really strong culture. He holds me accountable, holds everybody accountable, no matter who you are. So it's a really strong culture that he's not going to let break. So, yeah.
Fellas, congratulations. We'll see the UConn Huskies on Friday night at the world's most famous arena.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Dan Hurley, Jordan Hawkins. We'll be back with more with Vin Parisi, Terrence Oglesby on Shootaround. We welcome you to Big East Shootaround from Madison Square Garden. You just heard from the Connecticut Huskies. Now you hear from Vin Parisi, from Terrence Oglesby. I'm John Fanta, and it was the Big East in all its glory this afternoon, gentlemen. That's about as good as a Thursday afternoon at the conference tournament can get. UConn 73, Providence 66. The Huskies led this game. They had it well in hand. They were up 35-19 at the half. They took more control, and then Ed Cooley would not go away. What did you make of what we just watched inside the world's most famous arena, Vin?
Well, the Friars didn't go away, and they got the Huskies to turn the basketball over. And Ed Cooley sprinkled in a little zone, a little pressure. They looked a little discombobulated, but that's how good Connecticut is. You still have to be playing your perfect game because they just have too many weapons. With Hawkins on the perimeter, of course, we know about the size up front.
It's unbelievable. And what Ed Cooley did to get back in that basketball game, in the half court against man-to-man, UConn was flowing. That offense was moving. It was popping. There was player movement. Cooley goes zone a little bit. They get a little stagnant. Caravan getting in foul trouble, too, was obviously huge. However, that zone made them a little bit more stagnant in the half court, and it resulted in turnovers because guys were indecisive in the half court. That's how Providence got back in this ball game. But my goodness, when UConn's good, and buddy, were they good in that first half, it's a Final Four team.
I tried to tell you about Ed Cooley coaching zone in this building last night, Mr. Fanta, if you don't
You did.
forget.
Yeah. One victory lap for Vin Parisi. One. We'll see if things go the other way later tonight. But what makes them so good?
UConn?
Yes.
It's that size. And the fact that the size defends, too. You don't have to get in rotations whenever you play against UConn because look at the bodies, the physicality. So many different guys in the second half. Providence wasn't going against that defense. Therefore, they were able to score a little bit more in semi-break situations. That's how they got back in the game. In the half court, though, Vin, that UConn team defensively is incredible.
Well, that's the road that I was going down, T, because, listen, the second half numbers are going to look a little skewed because the team's going on a run and because, you know, Ed Cooley went at him with a different defensive approach. Let's talk about what got the Huskies this cushion, and that's holding the Friars to 29% shooting in the first half, 11% from downtown. Dan Hurley's guys were active. They were getting deflections. They were physical on the interior in the paint, and as Ed Cooley likes to say, changed it at their own game. They got the Friars to take a ton of tough twos.
So here's my takeaway on this game. Connecticut is physical. They're long. We knew those things coming into this Big East tournament. And you knew that Jordan Hawkins and Adama Sanogo are elite weapons. But what has made the difference for this Connecticut team is what was seen in the guy that came off the bench today. His coach tried to teach him a lesson today. And how many times does a guy wither? Instead, Tristan Newton rose to the occasion. In 27 minutes of basketball, 16 points, 7 assists, 1 turnover. UConn has point guard play.
They do. And I got to tell you, they have depth. And whether you want to talk about the point guard play, and T, you know this, when if anything, when you start getting to conference tournament time, it's knuckling down in terms of minutes.
Absolutely.
There's not a lot of high-level elite teams that are playing 9 guys more than more than 13, 12, 14 minutes per game consistently, and that's what the Huskies are doing.
And you talk about the mental toughness of what Tristan Newton was able to do. Some of those shots he hit at the top of the key against that zone in crucial moments of this game.
Big ones.
I mean, big-time shots. Tristan Newton, you get a little discipline, but the fact that he's able to turn it around, there's a lot of guys that would buckle. Hurley alluded to that. Tristan Newton showed a lot today in terms of his toughness.
Guys, quickly, the other side of this, Providence has lost 3 straight, but a net hovering around 50. They do own wins over the Huskies, as well as Marquette and Creighton, among some others. Providence will hear their name on Selection Sunday, true or false?
I think they will. I think they woke up this morning and they were a projected 9 seed, and then obviously, this could bump them down, a seed or two easily. But when you look at the entire body of work to where you look at where they finished in league standings in one of the best basketball conferences, obviously, in the nation, Ed Cooley's team deserves to be in the field of 68.
There's no question in my mind this is going to be an NCAA tournament team, and not just an NCAA tournament team, a team that could win a game or two in the NCAA tournament because of all their weapons. And I thought Noah Locke today, I thought he was really good, especially down the stretch. A big-time shooter. Was able to get busy a little bit off the bounce. Not something we see all that often, some big shots down the stretch. This is a team with toughness and a coach in Ed Cooley who can really make adjustments. I thought he really showed well.
And I like what you're talking about in terms of winning games in this tournament, because I think they're going to be a tougher matchup when they get outside of conference play.
Sure.
These two teams know each other tremendously. This is the third time they're playing against each other. Now imagine having 2 to 3 days to prepare for Providence, and Devin Carter is guarding your main offensive threat. Now you got to match up with your front line with Bryce Hopkins. So I'm interested in, it's going to be fun to watch the Friars and the madness.
Who will they meet? They'll meet the Marquette Golden Eagles, meaning Connecticut, that is, tomorrow night. UConn and Marquette, it's booked for semifinal Friday. Marquette winning 72-70 over St. John's. Valiant effort by Mike Anderson's club.
Sure.
I mean, they gave it everything they had. The Golden Eagles found a way in overtime. Fellas, Tyler Kolek scored the last 7 points of the game for Marquette. How much did he show that he's the Big East Player of the Year?
I think it was plain as day. How good was he? In the first half, kind of tried to let the game come to him a little bit. And his team, Marquette, they struggled shooting the basketball. What was it, 20% in the first half? They were still getting quality looks. But Tyler Kolek, he has such a feel for this game. Whenever he never picks up his dribble. He's always operating in pick-and-roll situations. This game needed flow, and Tyler Kolek was able to provide that in the second half with his playmaking, with guys starting to knock down some shots. Sometimes your offense isn't going to work. Marquette came into this game top 5 offense in college basketball, the number 1 offense in the Big East. Sometimes you have to win ugly. They had to do that. That shows me what kind of team they really are. You got to win games in different ways. Marquette showed that.
Yeah, and I agree with Shaka. I think it's your first time on this big stage. It's different than any other time you've been at Madison Square Garden. Yes, you're the number 1 seed in the regular season champs, but you also have a team with no seniors, and it took them a little while to flush that out. As Shaka said in the post-game presser, Tyler Kolek doesn't score a point in the first 20 minutes, but I think down the stretch he showed what I think you're going to see. I've talked to other Big East coaches staffs, and the scouting report right now is Kolek is such a good passer. On his dribble penetration, guys are starting to stay home on shooters in the perimeter. So I think tomorrow you're going to see Kolek in more of those ISO Villanova back down, post up old Colin Gillespie guard situations. Now, how does he come through with that? I still think it's a very difficult matchup for them with Connecticut.
What I also thought was impressive, John, was whenever St. John's did switch some of these pick and rolls, he was able to back out, re-attack.
Yes.
And some of those shots he
Great
made,
point.
driving left, finishing over the top, these are not easy shots. I know he's left-handed, doesn't matter.
And people try to take away his left, and he still gets left.
So crafty in how he does it.
Sure. We heard from the Golden Eagles after their win over St. John's in dramatic fashion. Sorry. What determined this basketball game?
I think just, whoever was able to make the last play. I mean, they literally had a 3-point shot at the buzzer that, if they make that shot, they win. So it was back and forth. It seemed like it was one possession forever. I thought our guys did really show good, as Tyler said, resiliency, because a lot of things didn't go our way. Our guards between our 2 guys, Cam and Tyler, who have been as good as scorers as there's been, I think they were 10 for 34. And for us to be able to find a way to win when it's not really our night or our day shooting-wise says a lot.
You rode the Big East Player of the Year down the stretch in this game. He scored the game's last 7 points for your team. Just how comfortable are you giving him the basketball?
Well, I mean, you got to put the ball in someone's hands, and if we're going to go with anybody, it's going to be Tyler. I mean, he's made plays all year, whether it's passing or scoring, and I thought he did a great job getting to the foul line, which allowed us to extend our score a little bit, even on possessions that were a little bit choppy. But we have ultimate trust in Tyler.
You've talked about this team's growth. How much is this win just a reflection of all that? Because it's always the outsider who says, well, do they win this game in November or December? Do you feel like this is a product of your growth?
Yeah, because we had a few games like this where, we came back and kind of took hold of the game. And early on, like you said, we weren't doing that. I think our 3 losses, we were up early on and up even late, maybe with 5 minutes to go, and then it just kind of gave the game away at the end. So, just to show a game like this and show that we can win any type of way is really good for our group.
Shaka, in the midst of shots not always falling, it stands out for Omax Prosper, 16 points, 7-11 from the floor. And, guys, he put on his own dunk contest today at the Garden.
Yeah.
He had 4 of those. What does he continually mean?
He did a terrific job getting out in transition, sprinting the floor. I thought Omax did a terrific job as well, just staying with plays. He was in foul trouble because he got that technical foul and then picked up another foul quickly. But he stayed with it. We played him with 2 fouls in the first half, and he really rewarded us.
Winning at this tournament with the bright lights of the Garden, I know you want to do more of it, but when that game ends and you look around, you're doing TV, you're doing everything, what's the vibe like at this championship?
Well, our guys were really happy in the locker room. I'd be lying if I didn't say there isn't some relief there, because we didn't play our best. And it's like, okay, we got through that when there were some things with plays we'd love to have back. But the exciting thing is now we can kind of reset, and the next team we play will be, a terrific basketball team, and we're going to know that we absolutely have to go after them if we want to win.
And that'll be UConn or Providence as we're talking. Tyler Kolek, how does a Friday night date inside the world's most famous arena sound for the Marquette Golden Eagles?
Sounds perfect. We could have never imagined this, but it's all our hard work and all our growth this year has gotten us to this point.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
We thank Tyler Kolek and Shaka Smart for their time. Again, Kolek, he actually struggled in the opening 20 minutes, but then he got cooked and ended up with 19 points, 6 assists, and 3 turnovers. As we welcome you back to our Big East Shoot-Around desk, he's Terrence Oglesby. He's Vin Parisi. I'm John Fans. Let's wrap it up with this, fellas. We know it will be Marquette and UConn tomorrow night as we take a look at the updated bracket. 2 more games to come in the quarterfinals. So it will be a 1-4 meeting, chalk thus far. Xavier, DePaul, Creighton, Villanova. What are your takes?
I think the chalk is going to continue. I think that Sean Miller's Xavier club is going to be too much for DePaul. I think that we know the elite offensive runs that Sean Miller's crew could go on. I think this team's getting better defensively. I think that one's we're going to move on in the first one. And then I think when you look past that in the 3-6 game, I love the Creighton Blue Jays in this one. Now, you do not want to be playing Villanova right now. The scene, Madison Square Garden, how Kyle Neptune's guys are playing. I just think when you look at matchups, I expect McDermott's perimeter and the guards to shoot it better in this one, and I think Kalkbrenner's the difference inside.
I think Xavier, you look at that team, they're going to make DePaul pay for some of these defensive rotations that they struggled with yesterday. Seton Hall was getting a lot of open shots, guys. Xavier's not going to miss that many. There's too many offensive weapons. What Sean Miller's been able to do on the offensive end of the floor has been nothing short of terrific this season, and they have so many guys that can make shots. I just don't see it happening the other way. DePaul, great story on day 1. I think it ends on day 2. Moving on to that next one, Villanova, Creighton. Villanova's found their rhythm again. They're moving the basketball. They're attacking the rim with so many different guys. Matchup to watch, Eric Dixon, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Kalkbrenner's been really good. Defensive Player of the Year. Eric Dixon has knocked down shots this year. That's a big difference between this year and recent seasons. Eric Dixon could be the guy that changes this game. Give me Nova.
Oh, yes.
Give me Nova.
When Nova and Creighton last met 12 days ago, Eric Dixon went feasting for a cheesesteak with a career-high 31.
And listen, who wants to bet against Justin Moore and the way these guys are playing right now? But Creighton is due. Inside, outside, and I know you picked them to win the entire thing, Fanta Bear, so you cannot change your stance at this point.
A bear keeps his honey close to his side, and this week, Greg McDermott is my honey because his wedding is coming this week. I keep telling everyone. He does have a wife. She's lovely, but I keep telling you, no longer the bridesmaid. This is his wedding week. He is the bride.
It's been your analogy all week.
Yes.
Stay with it.
All right. Evaluate the New York City bar scene right now. Quick traffic report.
Oh, it's cooking, and it's pumping, and Metro North and Amtrak customer service is up as well.
A Rolling Rock and a green bottle right about now sounds really good. Xavier and DePaul at 7 Eastern time, followed by Villanova and Creighton, a rematch of last year's Big East Championship game. If you're in rush hour, good luck. Get here at 7. We'll see you tonight on Shootaround After Dark.